Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we're going to be breaking down yesterday's 8-game NBA slate. Going to be getting into a little bit of the news and notes going on for tonight's supposedly 5-game slate, but we've got a couple of games that could definitely be postponed due to inclement weather conditions. I'm talking about in the city of New York. The Brooklyn Nets, they're going to be hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we also know that the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden were supposed to be hosting the Indiana Pacers. And there's a very good chance that because the city is about to receive about 20 inches of snow, that these games could be postponed. Now, we already know that some transit systems in New York City are already down. The schools are going to be out or going to be not accepting the students. People are going to be staying home. 20 inches is a lot of snow. I'm no stranger to that too. I haven't lived in New York and DC for quite some time, and it's pretty rough to get around when things are in that type of state. So be on the lookout for that. We will go through with our analysis of these games just in case they do play. I do want you to have that information, but be on the lookout for later on in the day, waiting for news from the NBA because it's not going to come from the Knicks. It's not going to come from the Brooklyn Nets. It's going to be coming from the actual NBA. They're going to make the decision whether these games should play or not, because if you leave it up to the NBA owners, they just want their money for the tickets. They're going to play them games no matter what. But we've got to be safe. We've got to be better safe than sorry. You don't want anyone to get hurt in the travel. So let's hope the NBA makes the right decisions. And if these games should not be played, then they just won't be played, and we'll be rocking with a 3-game slate. So let's go ahead and jump into the Core 4 review. As you know, each day, the DFS Jerusalem goes out and issues out my Core 4 plays. These are the 4 guys that I am going to have the most interest in as I go through my roster building process. But first, let me tell you, boy, the night was kind of fucked up. Now, I escaped tonight with my buy-in and a little bit extra. But I'm talking about, it was some turmoil in the sweatshop. All hell broke loose. Right before lineups lock, we got the news that Nick Batum wasn't going to be playing. Let the fam know, yo, Lamb, get him in there because he's going to be so highly owned that if the dude goes off for 30 plus points and you don't have him, you're never going to catch up. So we all get on Jeremy Lamb. Then we get some more news later on after lineups lock that Tyreek Evans is going to be sitting out. Tyreek Evans, Costa Kufas, Aaron Aflalo, thank God his bum ass sat out. There's a whole cast of the Kings were going to be sitting out. And I had one guy from the Kings in our core 4. I also had another guy in a lot of I'm talking about 8 of my DraftKings lineups. This dude was in 6 of them. And that was very unfortunate for me and for a lot of you all that could not engage in the late swap feature that they do have over on Yahoo, where we could get Tyreek Evans out of those lineups and then get those set straight. It's been tough all year long. This late swap thing has been tough all year long, and I am really contemplating playing the bulk of my tournament play on a different site, like playing a lot more on Yahoo. As I'm getting more familiar with that, just because that late swap feature, man, it is tough, bro. It is very tough, and more often than not, we are on the losing side of the late swap issues. And if cats can't be around the TV and watch what's going on and see what's happening and have your phone in your hand to change your lineup, then what the fuck are you playing DFS for? I mean, late swap was a key integral feature, a strategy that we used when we were playing in football, when we've been playing in baseball. It's still there in baseball. Why NBA? Why take it out of NBA? Where we need it the most. It's crazy. It's crazy. So that was my night, man. It went from losing everything, complete loss of my buy-in at one point in the night, to just tilting hard as a bitch. I'm talking about, listen, I was on full motherfucking tilt. I went all the way, and I was like, you know what? I made this lineup that I'm going to put in the main, and it was one lineup. I put it in there. I was like, one $3 buy-in. Fuck it, I'm just playing one $3 buy-in. This was earlier in the day. Well, once I figured out that the Tyreek Evans news, because I took a nap. I came home, took a nap, and woke up. I was like, "Oh shit, it's 7:30. Cool, let's get it popping." And I look, and then a little while later, as I'm watching the game, Tyreek is out, and I had this one lineup that I already had in the late. I said, "You know what? Fuck it. Enter," and I put that bitch in 10 times. And guess what? That one lineup My best DraftKings lineup. I should have put that bitch in the main because that thing it brought back the whole buy-in and then gave me a little something else. So it was a profitable night for us here in the DFS sweatshop, and that's always a good thing. Let's go ahead and jump into that feature four. These, like I said, are the four guys. Excuse me, the core four. These are the four guys that I started most of my lineups with. Now we went into the VIP today. Every day, especially since I'm not gonna be I'm gonna be available most evenings. We jumped into the VIP, did some slate breaking and core four roster building, and I laid down the gauntlet. I said, like, right now, tell me right now, who are you? What are you gonna do? Are you a Karl Anthony Towns man or are you a Jokic man? Right now, make a decision. And if you're already on Towns, don't get off him. I'm on Jokic. So most of my lineups were Jokic Murray. The lineups that I had that were good were Towns Rubio. So if you went Towns Rubio, I'm sure that definitely helped you out. I was wrong in my analysis. I really thought because you gotta understand, I'm a tournament player, man. I'm going for the road less traveled, right? I don't even play cash games. The closest I'm gonna get to a cash game is a single entry GPP. I play straight tournaments. So of course, when I see this 13.5 point spread given to the Lakers, it doesn't really enter my thought process that, man, they could blow the fucking doors off of them. I'm looking at things like, well, Wilson Chandler's not going to be playing. Kenneth Faried's not going to be playing. Darrell Arthur's not going to be playing. Um, Jordan Clarkson just had a bomb ass game. They're switching shit up. The Lakers are trying to, play the young guys, and maybe they're going to play well. Maybe the game doesn't blow out. Maybe we see a full run of minutes for Nikola Jokic, and if I see that, I want a piece of that, right? Um, Karl Anthony Towns has a lot more firepower on his team, in my opinion, than they do have in Denver, anyways, especially with those guys injured. So maybe we'll see a situation where the game will stay close, and I can get a lot more Jokic, and that is not what happened. That is not what happened. It was a horrible showing for Nikola Jokic, and not because he played bad, just because they blew the doors off of the Lakers. The Lakers suck so bad, and that game was over like well into the first half. That game was fucking over. There was no coming back. But I stacked the game right in the later, won my money back and a little piece, so that's always good. Now let's go ahead and jump into this core four plays. We're gonna start with the guy I was talking about, Nikola Jokic, 23% ownership, 10.4K was the price on him. He went out and brought back 36.75 DraftKings points. Not what we wanted there. That should have been Karl Anthony Towns for 200 more. Next, we had Patty Mills. We locked him in due to the fact that we saw what he did against the Golden State Warriors over the weekend. We knew that that was another game that was probably going to be coming up for him. That would be a good play. 4.4K. He was 32% owned. Went out and brought back 36.5 DraftKings points. An excellent showing there from him. We also got into the Millsap, and when Kawhi Leonard was not playing, I loved Millsap when I knew that Kawhi Leonard wasn't going to be playing. But when the news broke that Kawhi Leonard was going to be playing, I had a decision to make. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to waver. I'm not going to waffle. I liked the matchup for Millsap, and he's not really going to be matched up with Kawhi. Anyway, that's more of a LaMarcus Aldridge thing. That's why I really liked Millsap on the outset, was because we were not going to be seeing Millsap. I mean, it's not going to be seeing LaMarcus Aldridge. So I stuck to my guns. I stayed with my play. I said, yo, I'm going Millsap, and it proved to be my undoing because Millsap at 32% owned, 6.9K, went out and brought back 29.25 DraftKings points. Not a great showing from him. And the last play, the late night hammer. Now, like I said, sometimes news works and it benefits. Sometimes news works and it doesn't. Because I had Willie Cauley-Stein as a core four member. And when everybody else is going to be ruled out, you think that it was going to help him. But it really didn't. It really didn't. All of those guys not playing did not help Willie Cauley-Stein because Costa Kuvas doesn't get a bunch of minutes anyway. All of those minutes went to Scal Labissiere. So Willie Cauley-Stein at 25% ownership, 27.75K in salary, went out and got 5.5K in salary, went out and got 27.75 DraftKings points. Not a horrible showing, but not at all that 6x that we wanted when we put him in our core four. So this core four was not a very good one. We did not start the week off right as far as our core four roster builds, but it was a profitable night for me. I did go ham, went turkey ham in the late, went straight tilt, and just entered this one lineup I made 10 fucking times and got my buy-in back in a little piece. So I'm cool with that. I can take that. Not a great showing for the core 4 for me tonight. But let's go ahead and jump into the feature 4 plays of the night. These are the 4 most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop, in the Facebook VIP, and as well as on Twitter. We're going to start with the Who Dat scoring all them points over there play tonight, and this goes to the old man. Now, as a gentleman approaching 40 myself, even though I don't look it, it's always good to see someone with a little gray in their beard go out and drop 41 DraftKings points. I'm talking about the big homie, uh, the big homie, one of the best dunkers in the history of the NBA. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Vince Carter, baby. VC went out 3% ownership, 3.3K, 41.75 DraftKings points, became one of 6 players in NBA history to score 20 points over the age of 40. Really nice game we saw from Vince Carter, and that kind of speaks to how old I am and how old I'm getting. Because I remember when this dude was a young sensation, a young phenom. I think I was one around the same time. Awesome cat. Really solid NBA career, and it's gonna be when he retires. I thought I was gonna. I felt something when Kobe left because damn, man, me and Kobe we've been together a long time in the NBA. But when Vince goes, that's it. Like that's everybody from my young adult years. Like that's gonna be it. It's gonna be over. And now I'm just gonna be watching kids play. So really great game we saw from Vince Carter, man. Awesome showing there. Next guy I'm going to talk about is the how did I miss that play tonight? How do I miss? I am the point guard whisperer. How do I miss when one of my favorite point guards, one of the best point guards in the history of the NBA, is going to go out at 9% owned, 8.2K in salary, and bring back 55 DraftKings points? How the fuck did I miss you, CP3? My apologies, brother. Great game for you, and that's why you are the how did I miss that play tonight. The next guy I'm going to talk about is the heat check play tonight. And this can only go to one player because, it doesn't have to go to the guy that scores the most points. It doesn't have to go to the guy that's the highest in the salary. But what it does do is go out to the gentleman that goes out and above all else, he just fucking balls. And I'm talking about you, ravishing Rick Rubio. Tonight is your night. Salute. You are the heat check player tonight at 22% owned. A lot of people were on you. A lot of the community was on your back. You went out at 6.8K and brought back 62.25 DraftKings points. An excellent game from you, Ricky Rubio, and that's why you are tonight's heat check player tonight. Again, I salute you. Now, let's talk about that one motherfucker. Now, this is another motherfucker. If you notice, there's a few point guards that we've been talking about tonight. This is one that was a disappoint guard. And he disappointed me. And this is somebody who I really love to watch play the game of basketball. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to Charlotte Friday or Saturday. I believe Saturday. Well, let me check. Let me check because I know I'm gonna have to make sure he's thawed out because he's a snowflake. He's a snowflake right now. I got to make sure he's gonna be thawed out by Saturday at 7 p.m. You got to be thawed out by then because you're going up against Kimba in Charlotte. I'm talking about you, John Wall. Tonight, you's a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. How the fuck do you go out there in position at 10.2K in salary, robbing 11% of the DFS community? You go out and you bring back a measly punk ass 37.5 DraftKings points. You get your ass handed to you and shown up by ravishing Ricky Rubio. Rick Rubio was a dude that a couple of months ago they were talking about Chris Dunn should take over this team. You are the face of the franchise in the nation's capital, and you go to the Target Center and you should have bricked. Horrible first quarter for you. A horrible first half for you. Rick Rubio destroyed you. Just manhandled you, made you look like a scrub, and it's very bad. It's a poor show, and I ain't gonna roster your bitch ass again till Saturday. But you're gonna be in a real nice matchup. I'm gonna see you in person. You're one of my favorite players. I love watching you play the game. You play the game with such intensity. You remind me of an Allen Iverson type, one of my favorite point guards as I was a young man. But tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. Let's get on with the rest of the show. John Wall, that old pussy boy shit. Let Ricky Rubio do you like that. Sorry. Alright, so now at this point in the show, what I'd like to do is show you my very best DraftKings lineup because you know what? I want you to believe that the story I just told you is true. I want you to know, bro, I was fucking losing all my money. I was losing everything. And then I just tilted and went hard on the late slate. and won my money back. I don't want you to think, oh man, this dude, you're lying. You didn't play the guys you were talking about. You played some other people and you won money. I don't. That's not what the fuck happened. That's not. This is. I'm gonna show you what happened. This is what happened. All right. My very best DraftKings lineup is here. We are. This is it right here. Now, if you notice, check this out. I just tilted hard and I put this in the 4K sharpshooter. This was the later lineup. I mean, I went ham, put it in 10 times because I was mad because I had lost my whole buy-in earlier. And in this lineup, we got Jordan Clarkson, Jamal Murray, somebody who I was on all day, Danilo Gallinari, Willie Cauley-Stein, somebody who was on all day, Nikolai Jokic, Elfrid Payton, somebody who I was on all day. He was still a core four member. Elfrid Payton, Will Barton, and Nikolai Vucevic. Now, what made this lineup really pop off was Jamal Murray and the Will Barton. Will Barton was at 15% ownership, and Jamal Murray in this tournament was at 9% ownership. So that's what really separated me from a lot of the people in the field. All of the other guys were at least 50% owned or 45% owned or better. So this lineup did get me most of the money back. But let's go ahead and show you. I'm gonna show you my single entry because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you my single entry lineup because my core four is always in my single entry lineup. Unless something crazy breaks off, something that we all know about happens, then they're not gonna be in there. But well, all of them won't be in there. But my single entry lineup, I will have all of the guys that I like in my core four in my single entry lineup. So let's go ahead. Stop. It should be by number of entries. 8, 8, 7. This is it right here. I should be like so much faster with this shit. Like, here it is. But that's just not what's happening. Because it wasn't a very good showing at all. It really wasn't. Sorry it's taking so long, y'all. Well, what? No, because I'm gonna show you this shit. Because I don't want y'all to think I'm full of shit. I gotta show you this shit. Okay, here it is. Bam. Here we go. This is my single entry lineup right here. Okay, now as you can see, I had a lot invested in this lineup. This is the one that I liked the most. This is my single entry joint. I had it in the 20K pick and roll single entry, the 6K jump shot single entry, the $4 single entry, the high five single entry, a 4-point play, a few times in the and one, about 5 times maybe in the quarter games. How did I do that? And this lineup only scored what? The lineup only scored 241 DraftKings points. And I'm gonna show you because live cards are loaded. Live cards are loaded. 241 DraftKings points was what this lineup scored. My shit is glitching like a motherfucker. This is crazy. I'm sorry that I'm holding you up and probably like moved on to another show, but sorry. All right, here we go. Bam. I have to do this because all right, you see all of the entries there, and this is it. Okay, this is it. All right. Patty Mills, core four guy. Paul Millsap, core four guy. Nikola Jokic, core four guy. And Willie Cauley-Stein. I had John Wall in there. I wanted to get some star power. The guy that I thought could really like light it up if he got a chance, but he did not play well. That's why he's a nice snowflake. Also, Jeremy Lamb. Everybody moved over to Jeremy Lamb. 38 points for him. And I had Tyreek Evans that blew everything. Now Tyreek Evans plays. This cashes. I'm having a great night. I'm fine. I get over the fact that Paul Millsap didn't have a great game, that John Wall didn't have a great game, even that Nikola Jokic didn't have a great game because he was so highly owned in this tournament. And is my that is my signature lineup for the night. And I just wanted to show you this because I gotta be honest with you, man. I have to. It's something that I have to do. That's something that I predicate myself on, being an honest DFS player. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. I share it with you. Either way, I'm going to share it with you. So let's go ahead and jump into a very quick recap of last night's NBA games. What we're going to do, we're going to roll through this as quick as possible because tomorrow's a stack slate for me, especially if we know for sure that the New York is going to be covered in snow and we're not going to be able to get those couple of games. So it's going to be a 3-game slate, and I'm stacking. That's just the case. So let's go ahead and run through it real quick. We're going to start in Charlotte, where the Chicago Bulls came to town. Excellent game from Jimmy Butler. The egg is squarely on my face. 23 points, 6 boards, 11 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, shooting 53% from the field, 2 for 5 from behind the arc. He had 5 of 6 free throws. And you know what? This dude looks so uninspired. This team looks so uninspired. But when I saw that Rajon Rondo was going to be getting a start in this game, that should have been a red flag for me to pay more attention to this. And it happened long enough before lock to where I could have made some changes. I just didn't, man. I've been so burned in the past by moving off things that I already liked that I just didn't want to take a chance at doing that. So talking about Rajon Rondo, in 35 minutes, dude dropped 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 steal while shooting 53% from the field, going 3 of 6 from behind the arc. Really solid game there. Now, if you got Rajon Rondo hitting 3-point shots, if you got Rajon Rondo taking 6 3-point shots, he's in for a good day. He's in because he's got to be very confident, very comfortable to shoot the ball with that type of frequency. With that type of frequency, yes, definitely. So let's go ahead and talk about Dwayne Wade. 31 minutes for him. He had 23 and 1 rebound, with 5 assists and 2 steals. Also blocked the shot. He shot 53% from the field as well. Pretty solid game there from him. Nikolai Mirotic off of the bench doubled in 28 minutes. He had 24 and 11. Also shot 50% from the field. This team shot very well. He had 5 of 12 3-point shots. This was a very, very good offensive game for a lot of the Chicago Bulls. On the Charlotte Hornets side, Marvin Williams does it again. 13 points, 18 boards, 5 assists, and 1 block. And I liked Marvin Williams. I liked the spot that he was in. But when we knew that we were going to be seeing Frank Kaminsky for 20-plus minutes, that was a report that came out. I was like, well, I'm going to shy away from Marvin Williams. And that proved to be not a very good decision on my end. Kemba Walker at home in 37 minutes had 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 10 assists. Also shot 37% from the field. Could have been a much better game for Kemba if he shot a little better. He had 3 of 12 3-point shots. Not great shooting from behind the arc. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in 22 minutes, in 35 minutes, MKG had 22 points, 6 boards, and 1 assist. Also shot 75% from the field, hit 4 of 5 free throws. Pretty solid game there. We saw Cody Zeller for 35 minutes. He had 11 and 7 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Pretty nice game there. This game was stackable as fuck. And we all thought it was going to be one of the lowest point totals on the slate. The point spread was only 200. Well, this team combined for 224 points. One of the higher point totals actually on the entire slate. That goes to show you that sometimes you can't ignore that. You can ignore what they say the point total is going to be. And Jeremy Lamb, starting in place of Nick Batum, in 30 minutes had 26 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And this dude relishes in times and chances to start. If you've been with us all year long, you remember at the beginning of the season, the dude went off for 40, 45 points, 48 points in a couple of games that he did get to start when Nick Batum was out earlier in the year. So this dude can play. He can actually play. He just doesn't see a lot of minutes. He just doesn't because Nick Batum is such a great player. He just doesn't see a ton of minutes. Next game we're talking about Toronto Raptors at home against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this one did live up to the billing as a low point total game. These teams combined for 178 total points. We're going to start on the Dallas side, where Wesley Matthews did incur an injury in this game. He only had 2 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists. Only hit 1 of 5 field goals. Not a great game, but he did get hurt. Harrison Barnes, not a nice one from him. He had 18 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block in 35 minutes. Dirk Nowitzki, solid game from him, 17 and 7, with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in 28 minutes. And Lil Bra in 31 minutes didn't do shit, 5 and 3, to go with 2 steals. Not a great game there at all. Yogi Ferrell, not a great game from him. 5 and 3 to go with 6 assists and 1 steal. We saw a decent game from Dwight Powell off of the bench. In 21 minutes, he had 10 points and 10 boards with 1 block while shooting 44% from the field. Didn't see much else from anyone on the Dallas side. This is a horrible team. When they get ready, they are a really bad team. On the Toronto Raptors side, though, another great game we saw from Jonas Valanciunas, man. The guys were talking about him in the sweatshop at the VIP, man, and he was a really great play today. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, pretty solid for him. DeMar DeRozan, in 32 minutes, he had 25 and 6 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals. Not a great game from him. Delon Wright, in 20 minutes, had 11 and 4 to go with 3 assists and 1 steal to go with the block. Dude is getting minutes. We didn't see much of Norman Powell. I mean, he didn't play, tons a ton of meaningful minutes. He had 31 altogether. He had 19 and 5 to go with 3 assists. This game was a blowout. It was just a blowout. It was just a bad game. Now, and Serge Ibaka did not score a fucking point. In 32 minutes, he had 0 points, 9 rebounds, no assists, no steals, 2 blocks, and shot 0 for 4 from the field. Horrible game there from Serge Ibaka. Corey Joseph in 25 minutes had 9 and 1 to go with 4 assists, shooting 40% from the field. And we didn't see much else from anybody on the Toronto side. Like I said, it was a very low-scoring game. Next game we're going to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. This is another game that was slated to be a very low-scoring game, but that proved to not be the case. We're going to talk about it. Chris Middleton on the Milwaukee side, he did play 34 minutes. And if you're telling me I'm going to get 34 minutes of Chris Middleton, I would buy that every time. I would buy that every time without question. But in 34 minutes, he only had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. Not a great game there. Giannis Antetokounmpo was somebody who was a very contrarian play on the slate, and there was a good reason for that. He just didn't play very well. In 27 minutes, he had 18 and 5 with 4 assists and 1 steal. We saw a decent game from Greg Monroe, 13 and 5 to go with 1 assist and 2 steals. Malcolm Brogdon, 15 and 8 assists to go with 2 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block. And we saw Matthew Dellavedova for 23 minutes. He had 13 and 3. Not a great game there from any of the Milwaukee Bucks. On the Memphis Grizzlies side, somebody that was pretty much on all day, man. I like the spot that he was in. It was Marc Gasol. He didn't snowflake the fuck out and really let us down, but he didn't have a great game. In 36 minutes, he had 13 and 7 to go with 7 assists. He was on a triple-double watch at a certain point in the game. Also had 2 steals while shooting 46% from the field. Nice game we saw from Mike Conley in 36 minutes. He had 20 and 10 assists to go with 1 rebound and 3 steals. Pretty good game there. Zach Randolph in 21 minutes had 14 and 7 to go with 1 assist. Not a great game, but Vince Carter was actually the play of this entire game. In 30 minutes, he had 24 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals, and that is why he was tonight's who that scoring all the points over there player tonight. And to make this funny, man, it's such an aberration because the dude hit 8 of 8 field goals, 6 of which being 3-point shots. The dude didn't miss any type of shot he took all night. He hit 6 of 6 3-pointers, 2 of 2 free throws, and overall 8 of 8 field goals. Great game for the old man. Great game. Didn't see much from Tony Allen in his 29 minutes. He had 15 and 4 with 1 assist. Not a great game from him. Next game we're going to be talking about is the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Atlanta Hawks in San Antonio. Last minute we found out, oh man, Kawhi's going to play. And that kind of threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing, man. But we still saw some solid performances on the Atlanta side. Number 1 being Dennis Schroeder in 37 minutes. He had 22 and 10 assists to go with 2 rebounds and 2 steals. And we talked about that, not being afraid to roster point guards against the San Antonio Spurs. They are weak there. We can definitely exploit that every time we get a chance. We also saw a very solid game from Tim Hardaway Jr. in 28 minutes. He had 17 and 2 to go with 4 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Pretty good game there. Dwight Howard grabbed 13 boards, but he only scored 7 points, blocked the shot, 1 steal and 1 assist in his 30 minutes. Not a great game from him. And Paul Millsap, man, at 39 minutes, this dude had 16 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And he could have played this way in the first half. All this shit is what he did in the second half. I mean, he was really, really playing very badly in the first half of this game, and that proved to be, why. And then they were still in the game. The Hawks were still in the game. He still had a reason to be out there on the court, but he just looked uninspired, like he didn't really want to play too much. And that was just a bad showing, especially in that first half for Paul Millsap. Kawhi Leonard, in his first game back from the injury, the concussion protocol he was in, He played 38 minutes, had 31 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, and blocked the shot while shooting 41% from the field. Hit 8 of 10 free throws and 3 of 8 3-point shots from behind the arc. Pretty good game there. David Lee in 29 minutes had 14 and 6 to go with 4 assists and 1 block. Pretty solid game there. Paul Gasol had a nice one. In 27 minutes, he had 13 and 10 with 4 assists and 4 blocks. Pretty solid one. We saw a pretty fair amount of minutes, 22 to be exact, from Manu Ginobili. He had 3 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and had a block shot. Pretty good game there from him. We also saw Danny Green. Danny Green has been playing very well lately. And, something that I keep noticing is Danny Green loves that. He loves that when they're up on a team and they know a team needs like a 3-point shot or kind of a big shot to get back in the game. Like he hangs and waits for the dude to get the pass and kind of shoot the three, and he just flies over there real quick and blocks the shot. So Danny Green is a really, really heady defender. He's a very solid player. I like to watch Danny Green play. Tonight, he had a nice one. In 29 minutes, he had 14 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and also blocked a couple of shots. That was a very good game there from Danny Green. And not too much else to talk about on the San Antonio side. We're going to go ahead and change gears and get into the Minnesota Timberwolves at home against the Washington Wizards. This is a game where money was won and lost, man. It was won with the Rubio Town stack, and it was lost with John motherfucking Wall with his snowflake ass. We're going to start on the Washington Wizards. The aforementioned John Wall, he did lead the team in scoring at 27 points. He had 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, while shooting 37% from the field. He got to the line 19 times, and he converted 14 of those into points. Did hit 1 3-point shot, but he had 4 turnovers and just did not play a very great game. Did not play a good game. Brad Beal in 37 minutes had 20 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, while shooting 33% from the field. Not a good one we saw from Markieff Morris. He had 11 and 7 to go with 2 steals in 33 minutes. Not a great game from Otto Porter. 11 and 6 to go with 1 assist and 2 steals in 31 minutes. Bojan Bogdanovic had 12 off of the bench, also grabbed 4 boards and had an assist. So it wasn't a very good game at all for the Washington Wizards collectively. Next, on the other side of the ball, Andrew Wiggins, man, 39 minutes, didn't do much with it. He had 15 and 5 with 1 assist and 1 block. He shot 33% from the field, and only like nine guys total played. 9 guys played. And most of the dudes that were doing all the damage were Ricky Rubio and Karl-Anthony Towns. In 35 minutes, after getting 2 quick fouls and not playing much in the first quarter, Karl-Anthony Towns came out with a vengeance in the second half. 39 points, 13 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, shot 65% from the field, hit 2 of 4 3-point shots, 3 of 3 free throws. Just an excellent game from him. Ricky Rubio dished out 19 dimes, had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. At one point in the game, I was like, yo, this dude going to get a triple-double. He had an awesome game, a really great game. And when Ricky Rubio's hitting 3-point shots, you know you're in for some trouble. Nemanja Bjelica, in his time off of the bench, in 28 minutes, had 16 points, 10 boards, and 2 assists. Also had a steal, shot 6 of 7 from the field and 1 for 2 from behind the arc. Really nice game. And this guy is undoubtedly a thing. Gorgie Jang, 10 and 9 to go with a steal and 3 blocks in his 32 minutes. So this team was stackable, and we talked about stacking them last night. And I hope you did. If you did, I know it got you to the cash line. Excellent game there from the guys in Minnesota. Next game we're going to talk about is the Utah Jazz defending the home court in Salt Lake City, matched up against the LA Clippers. This was a fairly entertaining game throughout. We had some really solid performances. We're going to start on the LA Clippers side with main man Chris Paul, 33 points, leading the team in scoring, had 6 boards, 7 assists, and 1 steal, while shooting 52% from the field. He hit all 6 of his free throws, hit 5 of 11 shots from behind the arc. Pretty nice game there. Blake Griffin, snowflake, in 36 minutes, had 8 and 9 to go with 5 assists. Not a great game from him. Didn't see much from DeAndre Jordan, 12 and 7 to go with 1 assist and 2 blocks. And JJ Redick had 16 points, also grabbed a rebound and had 1 assist off of the bench. The coach's son, Austin Rivers, in 25 minutes had 15 and 2 assists. Not a great game there. And we saw Jamal Crawford for 15 minutes. He had 11 and 1 with 1 steal. Not a great game from him. On the Utah Jazz side, big time snowflake for Rodney Hood, man. He played 20 minutes, had 6 points and 1 assist while shooting 2 of 7 from the field. Not a great game there from him at all. Joe Ingles in his 26 minutes had 18 and 4 to go with 2 assists. That was a solid game. Joe Johnson 14 and 3 to go with 2 assists as well. We saw a pretty decent game from Rudy Gobert, 11 points, 10 boards, 3 assists. Also had 1 block, pretty solid. Not a great game, but it was okay. We saw a nice one from Gordon Hayward. In 35 minutes, he had 27 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists while shooting 50% from the field. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Sacramento Kings at home against the Orlando Magic, and this was probably the most competitive game of the night. Like, this one came down to the end. It was a very competitive game, and I really thought that Orlando was going to play and kind of blow Sacramento out, especially once you find out all of those guys are going to be missing from the Sacramento roster. But that's not what happened, man. These guys hung around, man, and Sacramento actually did win this game. On the Orlando side, Terrence Ross is now playing like Terrence Ross. In 29 minutes, he had 8 points, 2 boards, 4 assists. Not a great game there. Aaron Gordon in 29 minutes had 17 and 3 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals. And we saw Nikolai Vucevic for 32 minutes. He had 23 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Very good game from him. Evan Fournier started off very slow in the first half, but he did pick it up in the second and had 21 points with 5 boards and 1 steal. And Elfrid Payton, triple-double, 13 and 10 to go with 13 assists and 1 block. Really nice game there from Elfrid Payton. And we saw Jeff Green for 18 minutes. He came in, wreck shot, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. Pretty solid game for him at that price point. On the Sacramento Kings side, probably the best play from this game was Darren Collison. Now, I was not on Darren Collison. But if you would have told me that there wasn't going to be any Ty Lawson early today, fuck yeah, I'd have been on him. That's who's been stealing all of his minutes. And he showed why he should be getting them. Darren Collison in 33 minutes had 19 points, 2 rebounds, 13 assists, 3 steals. Really good game, shooting 55% from the field. Only took 9 shots, but he hit 2 of 4 free throws. 2 of 4 3-pointers, and hit all 7 of his free throws. Really solid game there. Willie Cauley-Stein in 36 minutes had 18 and 7 to go with 1 assist. We saw Buddy Hield for 31 minutes getting the start. He had 17 and 6 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals. And Garrett Temple in 34 minutes had 14 and 3 with 4 assists and 2 steals. And this team is much better without Aaron Aflalo. Sorry ass. Also, we saw a pretty solid game from Anthony Tolliver. In 27 minutes, he had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Pretty good game we saw from him. The last game on the slate, and probably the game that a lot of us should have avoided when it came to the point total. When the point total was concerned, we should have had some avoid features on this game because it blew the fuck out. It really did. We're gonna start on the LA Lakers side where Brandon Ingram had 14 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 1 steal in 26 minutes. Ivica Zubac, really nice game, 25 and 11. Also had 1 assist and blocked the shot. He shot 80% from the field, knocking down 12 of 15 field goals. Also hit 1 of 4 free throws. Really good game from the rookie, man. That just got some talent. He's a very good player. Jordan Clarkson did not play very well. In 33 minutes, he had 19 and 2 to go with 3 assists. Didn't see a great game from D'Angelo Russell either. 10 and 2 to go with 3 assists and 3 steals. The only other guy that kind of had a decent outing was Tyler Ennis for his price point. In 20 minutes, he had 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Not a great game from much of the Lakers, man. Not a great game at all. But even talking about, Julius Randle in 23 minutes, only getting 7 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, and 1 block. Not a great game. Denver Nuggets side, Danilo Gallinari in 28 minutes had 18 and 3 to go with 5 assists. We saw Mason Plumlee for 36 minutes. And you know what? That's, to me, is what really hurt Jokic's value when Plumlee got the start, because he's a fairly decent rebounder as well, and if he's playing well, they're gonna leave him out there. That he gives Jokic more options to rest if they get a lead, and it was just when I saw Plumlee was starting, I was like, fuck, I should have went cat everywhere. That's immediately what I felt. And Plumlee had 15 and 10 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And I think that if they're going to be rolling this lineup out there, you can fuck with Plumlee at the 4th spot. Too bad that he was only center eligible on DraftKings. Nikola Jokic in 24 minutes had 18 and 9 to go with 4 assists and 1 steal, shooting 61% from the field. Pretty solid there. Jamal Murray, 22 off of the bench. The 2 guys that came off of the bench led the team in scoring, pretty much because it was the blowout and they just closed the game out. But we saw Jamal Murray for 29 minutes. He had 22 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. And Will Barton had a very decent game off of the bench, 22 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, and also had a block shot. Pretty solid game for Will Barton. We saw Juancho Hernan-Gomez for 19 minutes. He had 13 and 6 to go with 1 assist. Gary Harris, 12 and 4 to go with 7 assists and 3 steals. And we saw a very solid game from all of the guys that got better than 19 minutes or better. They all had solid games just because it was such a blowout. So now that we've wrapped up last night's NBA action, let's go ahead and jump into the player pricing for today's 5-game, no, 3-game NBA slate. Remember, there's a good chance that a couple of the games in New York are going to be postponed, so you've got to be on the lookout for that. You got to pay attention to that going forward. Now, let's go ahead and pop this open. Go to the Create New Lineup tab and jump in. Now, we got 5 games starting at 7 o'clock. That's what they're saying. 2 games in the turbo, 2 games in the late. If none of these games are, well, let's see, because I believe those are early games. The 7:30 games. Okay, yeah, the Knicks is a 7:30 game, and as well as the Nets. Those are both the 7:30 games. So you would ignore these turbos unless they reconfigure some shit. You would want to look to the late. So take 2 games, take them line up from there, and you can throw it in the main on the 5 games, which there probably only be 2 games played. So we're gonna talk about that as well. And we gotta stay in touch with that all day long, man, to find out what's gonna be going on. I'm sure the news is gonna come out pretty soon in the day. We're gonna know. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, as you can see, we've got LeBron James and Westbrook headlining the slate. Uh, LeBron James is coming in at 11K. Westbrook is the highest salaried guy on the slate. Now, this game may not play, so there's no need to really get too deep into it. If it does play, we can revisit that. We can definitely talk about that. LeBron James at 11K, very very solid play. I think I like him at home against Detroit. He's going to be in my lineup. We're going to be stacking, of course. Anthony Davis, 10.5, definitely in play. Although I would like more DeMarcus Cousins at 9.6. I think these guys are going to not so much take turns balling out, but I really think that, as the matchup plays out, Portland, uh, you could definitely see Yusuf Nurkic getting worked over by DeMarcus Cousins. You can definitely see Yusuf Nurkic getting worked over by DeMarcus Cousins. Now, Anthony Davis has a very solid matchup in it, going up against a guy like Ed Davis or something. But Ed Davis is probably going to hack him and catch a couple quick early fouls. So we're going to see a few of the bigs are going to be interchangeable from the Portland side. But if I had to pick between Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, I would go Cousins tomorrow. I would. Dame Lillard at 8.8, play that I really like. Kyrie Irving, 8.7, I like that. Paul George, probably not going to be playing this game. Dario Saric is up to 8.1K. Now, this is really going to test it. If you are, all of you Dario Saric truthers, this is really going to test your mettle and see how much you want him. Because at above 8.1 in a matchup at the Oracle against Golden State, that's going to really test your mettle. I won't be doing it, but I'm sure some of you will. Draymond Green, I'd much rather have him than Dario Saric at 7.7. I'll take that. Andre Drummond at 7.6. I don't normally like to play centers against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I don't think I will tomorrow either. I would rather pay down and go to Tristan Thompson in the matchup against Andre Drummond than to pay 7.6 for Andre Drummond against Tristan Thompson, who is a much better defender. CJ McCollum, 7.5. He's in play for me. Carmelo, that game probably really will not play, but if it does, I would like to have Kristaps Porzingis. I think Carmelo Anthony would be a solid play, but he's going to be seeing a little Paul George defense, so that may be like Paul George more than I would like him. Robert Covington was questionable. It's questionable now. He was out the last time the Golden State, Philadelphia 76ers played. Jrue Holiday, probably hands down my favorite point guard play on the slate. I really like the spot that he is in, going up against the worst team in the league on the perimeter against the point guard position. I have no issue with rostering him. Nurkic at 7K does deserve consideration. My only fear would be that the most active part of the Portland Trail of the New Orleans Pelicans is in the low post, And with that much activity on the low block, somebody's going to be picking up early fouls from the Portland side. Somebody's going to be picking them up. And it could very well be Yusuf Nurkic trying to guard Boogie and or Anthony Davis. Klay Thompson, yes, 6.9, I like that. Jeff Teague, if this game plays, I kind of like him. Brook Lopez, of course, I like Brook Lopez at 6.5. I think he's going to be a solid play if the game plays. Victor Oladipo, yes, we can attack the Brooklyn Nets everywhere, anywhere we like. Tobias Harris at 6.2 is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. He is questionable. If he doesn't play, I think we can look to Marcus Morris because he's just going to get those minutes at that spot. Derrick Rose, 6.1 is in play against that Jeff Teague defense, of course. As I said, Marcus Morris, 6K. I kind of like that. A little bit cheaper than Tobias Harris. Reggie Jackson against Kyrie Irving defense, we can go there. Jeremy Lin is in play at 5.7, of course, for me. Miles Turner, I like him against the New York Knicks at 5.7 if this game does play. TJ McConnell at 5.6 is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. I tried this last week when they played each other. I'm not doing that again. Enes Kanter at 5.6 is definitely in play. KCP is one of my favorite shooting guard players on this slate. I really like the spot that KCP is in tomorrow. Al-Farouq Aminu at 5.5 does deserve consideration. Hernan Gomez, if he does start, I kind of like him at 5.3. No Okafor for me. I would rather have Tristan Thompson at 5.1 than to pay up to a guy like Andre Drummond at 7.6. Even though both of them are in a pretty bad matchup and could cancel each other out, that's where I would go if I had the roster a center from that game. Trevor Booker is in play at 5K for me. Steven Adams, yes, at 5K. Rashawn Holmes, I can look at Rashawn Holmes at 4.9. Sean Kilpatrick is not a player that I'm really interested in. I do like Courtney Lee. Maurice Harkless is in play. Andre Iguodala in the scrub love could see some minutes. 4.6, I like that. John Lewis, a no for me. Rondae Hollis Jefferson has been playing very solid basketball lately, but I won't take a shot on him. I think Thaddeus Young is still cheap at 4.3. Give me some of that. He's just cheap. Ish Smith at 4.2 is a player that I am kind of interested in because if you look at it, and Reggie Jackson goes out there and he's shitting up the joint, and he's not playing very well, they're going to put Ish Smith in the game, and he could really have a solid one against Kyrie Irving defense. Taj Gibson is questionable, may not play tomorrow. I don't like him if he does. CJ Miles at 4.1 definitely deserves some consideration, matched up against the New York Knicks if that game does play. Alan Crabb at 4.1 is a play that I'm not very interested in. Neither is Channing Frye or Kyle Korver. Andre Roberson is in play if you're trying to stack the Oklahoma City Thunder if that game does play. And Jordan Crawford has been very interesting lately, man. Dude's been getting some minutes. He's been playing very well. You might want to take a shot at him, especially on a stacked slate like this. Those are the plays that kind of separate you from the rest of the field. Zaza is in play at 3.8, definitely for me. This dude can score like 40 points and he will still be 3.8. Like nobody rosters Zaza Pachulia. Nobody. I'll take him tomorrow. Lance Thomas, 3.8, no for me. Ian Clark, unless he's going to be seeing a ton of minutes in a starting role, you don't want to fuck with Ian Clark at 3.7. You'd much rather take a shot on Matt Barnes. Going to be seeing some scrub love probably. This game probably is going to blow out. Karis LeVert at 3.7. I liked him over the weekend. Don't like him so much right now if the game does play. Kyle O'Quinn is a no for me. Monte Ellis, no. Gerald Henderson could be a very solid player at 3.5. Patrick McCaw played some of the worst basketball I've ever seen from a young player. Dude went like 0 for 12 over the weekend against the San Antonio Spurs. Horrible game there. Does he bounce back at 3.5K? He might. He can. Derek Williams, no for me. Aaron Baines, no. Sean Livingston, no. Nick Stauskas, no. No sauce for me. No Dinwiddie. Quincy AC, I'm finally believing the hype. If the game does play at 3.4K, I kind of like him. Let's go ahead and find that 3K play today. That guy that's very cheap. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. Get him in there. 3K. 3K play today right there. That's it right there. Let me put up so you can see it. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. He is the 3K play of the day. I kind of like him tomorrow. I like him tomorrow. JaVale McGee also can see some solid minutes as well if this game does get out of hand. We got, don't do Sean Long. Don't do that. Don't do Norris Cole. Don't fuck with that. Brinius Jeremy Grant at 3K. If this game does play and it does get out of hand, he can definitely see some minutes in scrub love. Domantas Sabonis is probably still starting at 3. No, because the last time out, Taj Gibson started. But if he's hurt, Sabonis is probably gonna get the start, and you can look to him at 3K. So, a few things on there, few plays on there that you could like, that you could roster. But let's go ahead and dig into the point totals really quick. And we're gonna breeze through these because all of these games may not play. All these games may not play. We got two that could possibly not even play tomorrow. So if you want to take a day off, if you're looking for a day off in DFS, if you're looking for a day off, tomorrow can definitely be one for you because this is a crazy occurrence when snow takes almost half of the games off of the slate. So be on the lookout for that. Definitely watch that. Okay, so first game is going to be the Detroit Pistons going to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. This is a 215-point total with the Cleveland Cavs giving up 8 points to the Detroit Pistons. We talked about a few plays in this game. Right now, LeBron is playing like a man on a fucking mission. He is going out to seek and destroy. He was recently quoted as saying he wants to be the best player of all time. The dude has said recently this year that he's willing to play 48 minutes and lead the league in minutes if he has to. You gotta get him in your lineups. I love me some LeBron James tomorrow. I think you can also look to if you stack in this game, you don't have to go Tristan Thompson. You go LeBron, you go Kyrie, you go maybe some Channing Frye. Maybe if you're trying to stack this game on a 3-man stack, but that's as far as I would go. I wouldn't go so far as Darren Williams, or I wouldn't go as far as Kyle Korver. I just wouldn't do it. On the Detroit side, this is stackable as well. Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, KCP. Those are the guys that I like the most from a Detroit stack. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Brooklyn Nets at home facing the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the highest point total on the slate tentatively. It's a 225-point total with the Oklahoma City Thunder giving up 6 points, so that will make the Brooklyn Nets a home dog. We know the fight in this team. They play a lot of teams closer to the point total, to the spread. Actually, I mean they're a pretty solid team against the spread, and I like a lot of plays in this game. If this game does play, I think that you could look to, of course, Russell Westbrook at 13.4. I like Depot as well. I think Sabonis can be a solid play. Cantor, I like him. I would stack Depot, Westbrook, Cantor, maybe some Sabonis. Was where I would go. Maybe even Steven Adams, man. But I would choose between Steven Adams and Cantor. I wouldn't roster both of them. On the Brooklyn Nets side, that's a little tough to gauge who's going to be the guy that really plays well in that game, and who's going to be covering Russell Westbrook. Are they going to put Jeremy Lin on Russell Westbrook? Ugh, that's not a good matchup for him. But I would play Jeremy Lin in this game. I think you can definitely get to Rondae Hollis Jefferson, maybe some Trevor Booker. It's going to be a high-paced, high-tempo game. Like I always say, the pace of an NBA game is usually dictated by the best player on the floor. Of course, that's going to be Russell Westbrook, so it's going to be a high-tempo, high-paced game. That benefits a guy. That benefits a guy like Trevor Booker. He rebounds very well in those circumstances, so I can look at him. Sean Kilpatrick deserves consideration in the spot that he is in, and Karis LeVert in some instances. Next game I'm going to talk about, and that game could be snowed in. Next game we talk about is the Indiana Pacers going to New York to take on the Knicks. This is another game that could be postponed and not play. It's a 211-point total with the New York Knicks receiving 3.5 points from the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are giving up 3.5 points. The Knicks, like the Brooklyn Nets, are a home dog. Paul George, I like Paul George. I think we can look at Jeff Teague in a stack, maybe some CJ Miles if he does get the start. Miles Turner, of course, is a guy that I like. So I can go 4 deep on the Indiana side. Now, on the New York Knicks side, there's outside of Porzingis, and don't forget on the inside, at 4.3K, you can look at Thaddeus Young. On the New York Knicks side, it is not a lot of guys that I really like. I mean, outside of the usual suspects, Melo and Porzingis, maybe some Derrick Rose, there's not too many other spots that I would willing to go to. Next game we're talking about is the Portland Trailblazers going to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. It's a 217-point total with a very close spread. The Pels are giving up 3 points to the Portland Trailblazers. I like just about every starter in this game. I like this game a lot. This is one of my favorite games on the slate because instantly you've got Anthony Davis, you've got DeMarcus Cousins, you've got Drew Holiday, you've got some cheaper guys that can also play very well, and guys like Dante Cunningham, Solomon Hill, maybe some Etwan Moore can get into the mix. On the Portland side, you've got the backcourt of you got at 8.8K, a very solid play. I think Dame Lillard is going to be tomorrow, as well as CJ McCollum. You can also go down low, maybe get some Yusuf Nurkic, who I'm not very high on, but I still think he can be a solid play. Also, some Al-Farouq Aminu jumping off of the bench, maybe a little Allen Crabbe. So there's a lot of plays in this game that I kind of like too, but this is the game that I'm going to have the most invested in. Most definitely because those two games in New York could be snowed out, but I just like the point total and the matchup involved in this game. I think it's going to be the closest game on the slate. 217 is a very nice point total. I'm all in with that. Last game on the slate, the late night hammer game, is at 10:30. It's going to be the Golden State Warriors hosting the Philadelphia 76ers at the Oracle. It's a 221 point total with a minus 17 in favor of the Golden State Warriors. And that screams to me that I don't want anything to do with this game. I really don't. I don't. I want nothing to do with this game. On the Golden State side, if you want to get into it, you could look at guys like Steph Curry. You could look to probably the only guy that I really would like is going to be Klay Thompson. I kind of like Klay Thompson in this spot. Klay Thompson and maybe some Draymond Green. But I mean, when you try to figure out who the rest of those guys are that are going to make this game such a blowout, because Steph Curry is probably not going to do it by himself, it gets pretty tough. Now, the fact there's a 221 point total and the spread is 17 means that there's going to be a lot of points scored on the Golden State side. But you got to ask yourself, is this Philadelphia team a team that's going to make the Golden State starters blow them out, or are they going to be blown out by the Golden State bench? Now, let's revisit this. Let's look at this again. Because the Golden State bench has not been very great lately. So if this game blows out, maybe it's because of the Golden State starters. To go with contrarian, it probably won't be contrarian to everybody else, but contrarian to what my initial thought was looking at this game, I might just stack the shit out of Golden State starters. Maybe Jaja, Curry, Draymond, and Klay. And then maybe get a little bit of Matt Barnes or Iguodala off of the bench. Especially if the two games don't play in New York. Now on the Philadelphia side, Covington doesn't play, I'll play Sarge. If Covington doesn't play, I'm going to play Sarge. If Covington does play, I probably will fade both of them and not play anybody from the Philadelphia 76ers. There's not too much I like. I don't like TJ McConnell. I don't necessarily like Rashawn Holmes. I don't really like Okafor. This is a bad team. I'm just really not into playing any of the guys on the Philadelphia side. Remember, it's a 221 point total with the Golden State Warriors giving up 17 points. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. Sorry about the few inconsistencies and small difficulties we've had during tonight's show. I'm still getting into the groove of being able to do this on a full-time level. Thank you so much for making that possible. If you would like to support the show, there's many ways to do that. You can go ahead and hit up the box over here. It says support the show. Go ahead and click that. Let it take you where it has to take you. Also, you can hit up my personal PayPal at simmonsmaurice95@yahoo.com. If you wanted to cop some DFS Sweatshop swag, you're more than welcome to do that. There's going to be a link in the description to the video. And if you want to become a full-fledged member of the DFS Sweatshop, it is simple as going to the website at www.dfssweatshop.com. That is where you receive all of our tips and tricks and tutelage that is designed and made and perfected to make you a profitable daily fantasy sports player. Like I said, it's been your DFS Jerusalem. Have a wonderful and profitable Tuesday. If you are in the New York City area, please stay safe. Please stay safe. And let's go out and keep it 300.